Every console generation, I pick a favorite. One console that I buy most of the multi-platform games for. The Nintendo Switch won that war for me. When the Switch came out, having the versatility of portability with a home console was life-changing. I wanted that option for all of my games. It had the Nintendo cliche of being less powerful than its competitors, but it was still powerful enough to play most of the games that I wanted to play. And some brave third-party devs showed the rest just how easy it was to port games over to the 7-inch tablet. The Nintendo Switch was ahead of its time, a revolution. But at the same time, it wasn't. And now it's on its last legs. This week marks 7 years with a console that was already using outdated hardware. But the power wasn't the driving force of sales, it was the innovation. Having a handheld that could play the latest and greatest AAA games is what led to publishers wanting to put their latest and greatest AAA games on the platform, and what led to over 130 million people to want to buy the thing. But now, competition is sprouting up from some unlikely places. Consumers have a lot more options now than they did 7 years ago. I used to buy all of my games on the Switch, or at least the ones that I could. Throughout the years, we had so many incredible first parties, and some fantastic indies that felt right at home on the Switch. The library I've accumulated is massive. I just put together my taxes for 2023 because I'm a good boy. And with that, I collected my expenses and I saw that I bought a grand total of 2 games off of the Nintendo Switch eShop. And then I bought 1 physical. So a total of 3 Nintendo Switch games of all of last year. I bought 21 games on Steam. Now that's a paradigm shift. This year is going to be a rough one for the whole games industry. Industry leaders saying 2024 will bring more layoffs, PlayStation saying they don't have any games this year. 2024 was supposed to be the year of the Switch 2, but even that's looking to have been pushed back. I'm not sure what Nintendo has in store, but they're gonna have to be pulling out something to get me interested in my Switch again, because right now, the alternatives have my full attention. This video is sponsored by Surfshark. All right, and I got all your emulators set up, so all you have to do is get the games on there. See you later. Oh, whoa, hold up. How do I find the games? Oh, I can't tell you that. You gotta just Google around, you'll find something. Okay, I can do that. Okay, let's see here. Oh boy, that's a lot of download links. Wow, don't just raw dog these sites. You gotta turn on Surfshark. Surfshark? What's a Surfshark? I've never heard of Surfshark before. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I know what Surfshark is. I've heard Surfshark before. VPNs can help change your location so that you can access content that might otherwise be blocked in your country. They can also help encrypt your data so that nobody can see what you're doing, not even your ISP. So you can have the freedom to do whatever you want on the internet. Man, I wish I had this in college. Who's Vim anyway? Surfshark 1 gets you their VPN, private web search, data leak alerts, and antivirus. There's no risk to trying Surfshark. They offer a money-back guarantee. So if you want to give Surfshark a try, all you have to do is click the link in the description below and use code DEN, D-E-N, for 3 extra months for free. Did you get it working? Yes. Just need a bigger SD card. How much did you download? Like 14. Yeah, it's got plenty of space. Petabytes? I'm taking Hey! That's ridiculous. I have to say, I put the Switch down for months and didn't play it at all. And then when I finally picked it back up again, I was surprised by how nice it felt. I just like how thin and sexy it is. The buttons have a nice click to it too. It's not the most ergonomic, but I'm willing to sacrifice some ergonomics for portability. And this thing just slips right in your bag. Although the rails have seen better days. Having a spot where a device can bend feels a little strange. All of the alternatives that I've been talking about are bigger, and they mostly all have great ergonomics, but you're sacrificing a lot of portability. They're also heavy. Those ergonomics do not make up for the weight, which can make them uncomfortable to use for long play sessions. Not that you'd get much playtime with these anyway. I've gotten as little as 45 minutes of playtime on, I think, all of the PC handhelds that I've tested, which would have been unacceptable for any device just a few years ago. The Steam Deck is the best of the bunch, and the new OLED Steam Deck gives you a slight boost to battery life too, but nothing compares to the Nintendo Switch, which gives you a bare minimum of 3 hours of playtime. And way more than that if you're playing something more power intensive, and more than that if you have a newer Nintendo Switch. I remember when the Switch was announced, the battery life specs were used as a way to mock the Switch. Now, nobody ever even talks about it. The lack of games was also a criticism in year one. I like to bring up how the Switch launched with just 7 games. Now, it has somewhere around 13,000 games if we subtract DLC from the eShop page. My biggest reason for wanting to keep all of my games library on my Nintendo Switch was to have that option to take my games wherever I wanted to, whenever I wanted to. And then with the release of the Switch Lite, that gave me other bright ideas for how portable I can make this thing. But having your Switch account on multiple devices is a huge pain in the ass. It doesn't really let you move seamlessly between devices. And if you go all in on the Switch Lite, you're of course sacrificing the docked play. The switchiness to the Switch. I haven't been a PC gamer since grade school, but I didn't have any money of my own to buy games, so I would just pirate them all. The Steam Deck is like a gateway drug back into PC gaming for me. It solves a lot of problems that I have with the Switch. I can buy my game on Steam and play it on my desktop PC or on my Steam Deck, or on my Lenovo Legion Go or like an Asus Ally or whatever. I can play my game wherever I want. And the Steam Deck is dockable. I don't really use this feature because I can just pick up my game where I left off on my desktop PC, and games just usually run better on PC. And in turn, they run better on the Steam Deck than they would on a Nintendo Switch, which is starting to show its age. Some games aren't even available on the Switch because it would never be able to run on there. Some games, admittedly, don't run that great on the Steam Deck. Frame dips like these might scare publishers into deciding that a game is just not fit for that system. But with the Steam Deck, they don't really have a choice. If it's on Steam, you can try it on Steam Deck at your own risk. And for the most part, everything that I've ever tried runs just fine, with a few exceptions. Mostly just multiplayer games with anti-cheats that don't play nice with Linux. That guy killed me. That guy joined my game to grief me. This guy keeps bringing me back and airstriking me. I can buy a game on Steam and play it wherever I want. And I have the option to scale it as much as I want using the power of whatever device I want to put it on. And I have full forwards and backwards compatibility with the software that I just purchased until Valve decides to shut its doors one day. Nintendo locks you in. They made a killing reselling all of their old Wii U games on the Switch because it didn't have that backwards compatibility. They profited off of this inconvenience. Why are we that willing to just toss them our money? Captain Toad was sick. Bowser's Fury was also sick. All right, they win. Nintendo has had some recent great games. Last year had the award-winning Tears of the Kingdom, which got me to dump a few more hours into my Switch. That was a title that proved to everyone that Nintendo can do a lot with the limitations that they set for themselves. I spent more time on my Switch with Super Mario Wonder. I'm a big sucker for 2D Mario games, and this one checked all of the boxes for me. An absolutely incredible experience that also proves that sometimes, instead of graphical power, just some stylized charm is all that we need. The third game that I got was Super Mario RPG. That game. Do I get a revive item at some point? I didn't even have a second! Oh my god! Downright. I can't even move! I'm stuck in a loop! He doesn't even turn around. This year, there's nothing. There's not much coming out for any system, but Nintendo specifically has basically nothing slated. I assumed this was because the Switch 2 was right around the corner and they didn't want to announce anything until that was announced, but that doesn't even seem to be the case. I mean, it probably was the case, but it's all but confirmed that that has been pushed back to next year. So now they have even less slated for this year. The Pokemon Company just announced Pokemon Legends ZA. Yay. They didn't show any gameplay or any in-game footage at all. It's possible that that's because that is slated to come out for the Switch 2. But even with that, I don't think that a Pokemon game would be a great showing of graphical power for their next hardware. I don't even need a new Nintendo console to be that powerful. I mean, I think obviously a Switch 2 should be more powerful than a Nintendo Switch, but I don't even think like 4K is reasonable to expect from Nintendo. But we look at all of these PC handhelds that pretty much all came out last year, and they're all capable of so much, even 4K output. Now, it could be argued that those are all pretty expensive, but that's because they have to make money on the hardware sales. They can't make money on any of the software you'll be buying after you have the device in your hands. The Steam Deck is the best comparison because Valve can make a profit off of the software sales after you already have the device in your hand. So they can sell the device at a loss, just like Nintendo will. I don't think it's realistic to expect Nintendo to be at the forefront of technology, but I think they gotta meet us somewhere in the middle. It doesn't have to be 4K, but I definitely want some higher resolutions out of my gameplay. And with that, I would like to see at least 60 frames per second for most of my games. The current Switch right now barely hits 720p most of the time and is usually around 30 frames per second and less. And that should be unacceptable these days. But most of all, I'm a simple guy. I just want a better account system with better backwards and forwards compatibility, a way to link my purchases between devices. I wouldn't even mind if the new Nintendo Switch is the same exact design. Just let me carry over all of my purchases from the previous Nintendo Switch onto the new one. Some will say that that will take sales away from Nintendo. I would argue it would make a lot more people more willing to make the jump to the new hardware. People buy a new iPhone every year there's a new iPhone out, and they do that because it's just so easy to move all of your stuff over to the new one. If you had to rebuy all of your apps, no one would do that. Nintendo has already expressed a few times over the past few years that they do have interest in creating a better account system. And they also express how they want to make the jump from the current gen to the next gen as smooth as possible for consumers. It won't be as big of a leap as it was in the past. This will be step one in getting me to want to play all of my games on a Nintendo console again. But will I ever truly go back? I mean, I'll play all my first party stuff on there, sure. I've got thousands of hours in Mario Maker. I'll be using whatever console has that on it. But it would be pretty much impossible for Nintendo to match the versatility that a PC handheld provides me. Also, a lot of the indie stuff that I'm interested in launches for Steam first. Maybe Nintendo should make some more timed exclusivity deals. That'd be a good way to steal my interest. Also, I'll be at PAX East again this year to try out all the new games, which are mostly gonna be end up played on Steam Deck. So subscribe for that video. But realistically, I'll be interested in whatever they have next, no matter how weird and wacky they make it. I was very excited to see what they had up their sleeves. We're just gonna have to wait a little bit longer to see. And that's fine, because we have a lot to occupy ourselves with while we wait. Remember when I was on a podcast that was mostly Nintendo focused? The whole time I was on that podcast, was there anything that Nintendo did that truly excited me? So what do you guys think about 7 years of the Nintendo Switch, baby? Leave in the comments below, at me on Twitter, and all this other social media garbage. Are you in the same boat as I am? I was really hoping for some new things to shake up this industry. That's why I was so excited when all these other companies were releasing PC handhelds. But I'll be also just as excited when Nintendo releases another little bit of hardware. I'm a hardware guy, I can't help it. I like the little guys that I could just play my games on. Anyway, thank you Surfshark for helping sponsor this video. Don't forget to check them out. I have the link in the description. I stream on twitch.tv/wolfden. Sometimes I mess around and noodle around with little Game Boy guys. Sometimes I play Mario Maker. But of course, the most important thing that you can do to help support this channel, subscribe, share this video with a friend who's got a Switch collecting dust. Thank you very much. Have a good week.